how do we establish visibility in a profession which is built on trust, reputation, and expertise? I've been advised that as a partner, I should not be attending all the events.
This person doesn't even sound like what I see of him on social media, or just because you've produced a content and you seem to have my email ID, why am I getting this?
Welcome to the show, Nipun, and thank you for agreeing to discuss a topic that is usually avoided in our profession and in our circle.
Thanks to you, Santosh, for having me on this show, and I am extremely delighted. Association goes back to very many years, and I'm delighted that you chose me for the subject.
Wonderful. I would like you to give a brief introduction about yourself and also LLC, which you represent.
Sure, Santosh. So, hi everyone. I am Nipun Bhatia. I am the CEO of Legal League Consulting, India's first management consulting company for the global legal sector. We were established in 2010 by a visionary leader, Vitika Anand, who is the founder, chairman, and managing director of Legal League Consulting. Over the last 15 years, we have worked with over 500 different organizations, including law firms, corporate legal departments, law firm networks, global law firm networks, and international law firms in various areas of law firm management, which includes at a macro level the strategy building, the practice development plans, the partnership structuring, the mergers and acquisitions and synergies between law firms. And at an implementation level, it includes all business support areas which are required for the functioning, well-oiled functioning of a law firm, whether it's human resource development, brand building, practice development, finance, knowledge management, all of those areas we have helped law firms professionalize their business support. So this has been our journey of almost a decade and a half. This year we complete 15 years of being in this sector. Sure,
Nice, 15 long years.
yes.
One question, when you started LLC in 2010 and we are in 2025, uh, did you pivot or it was what it is and just kind of the bucket, got bigger?
So I would talk about two pivots. I think the first pivot came when we did a lot of events where we brought the business side of things and the legal side of things to a common platform. Those events were basically where the general counsels, the CEOs, the finance heads came and rubbed shoulders with the lawyers and the law firms. So that sort of convergence built a lot of trust by law firms in us because they felt we could connect both the sides. And I think the second pivot was more circumstantial in nature. We were very worried about it, which I think COVID shaped lives of a lot of people. Uh, Either way, for us, COVID, that period gave law firms the pause that was needed and the awareness which we were trying to create for a lot of years that be more visible, go online, talk about what you do. That became the necessity of the hours because the physical interactions were minimal, events were not happening, so everything did move to digital at some point in time. And for that period, which we sort of assumed that people are going to cut costs and our business may suffer, from those years the pivot happened because we were sought after, our mandates increased, our profitability increased, and I think we did some really, really good work post 2020.
Right. So today we are discussing the new age of law firm marketing, and you all are expert in that. And now, if we start this topic, the first thing is that the regulatory boundaries. And if we use the term the law firm marketing, do you think this phrase is still a taboo here, considering how the Bar Council and the Advocate Act kind of regulates us? Now, how do you see as an outsider, as a consultant, this law firm marketing in India especially? Is it still a taboo, or people have started talking openly and practicing this?
So I am going to be very candid when I speak about this, Santosh. Yes, the phrase definitely is still a taboo. You would not see people openly using words like business development. They are camouflaged as practice development, or even marketing is camouflaged as visibility enhancement, or we use subtler terms like branding. So, phrase is taboo from the perspective that nobody wants to get this wrong. When we speak of marketing, it does have a commercial connotation to it, and which is where the regulations come into the picture. But can we not speak about ourselves, or can we not sort of take the knowledge route, or can we not speak about from the perspective of creating an awareness? Definitely, yes. So many are wanting to do this, but many are wanting to do this within the boundaries of what's permissible and what doesn't flout the rules. If you ask me, heart of the heart, yes, words like marketing and business are still little lesser used within the fraternity. And even for someone like us who's serving the fraternity, we wouldn't want people to take an out and out, oh, I'm the best sort of route. But yes, what you have been up to, the work that you do, the expertise that you carry without saying, I'm the best. If that needs to be put out, that is the need of the hour, and many firms are doing it, right from perhaps a 200 member firm to a 1200 member firm. Everyone's doing it. They would want to make their presence felt, and I don't think there's anything wrong in that. So I
Do you
am.
think, of course, the Bar Council have shown some leniency and they have given certain flexibility after 2008? Until 2008, they did not allow the lawyers and the law firms to have a website, but after 2008, there were certain flexibilities. Do you see the firms of 2000, before 2008 and firms of 2025? How much it has changed in terms of connecting with the outer world.
See, Santosh, if we really look at that, uh, I wouldn't say all the websites are truly compliant with what were the instructions of, let's say, a Bar Council of India, because they would want to put limited information with respect to perhaps traceability, or how does one locate or reach a particular uh, law firm. But our law firm websites are very sophisticated, keeping in mind global standards today. And there's nothing wrong in it, because if we are sort of allowing us to open doors to the foreign counterparts, we will need to have the phrase that has been constantly used is level playing field, and it has to be so, because in today's day and age, not telling someone what we offer is also depriving people who need those services. So there is a very different lens to it, which perhaps people do not look at that. If I am not allowing a law firm to put out what they can offer, I am also depriving justice to people who may want to avail those services. So if you look at it from that angle, there really is no gap. Today, if India is allowing foreign law firms to come and practice in our land, who have very sophisticated websites, who have very sophisticated ways to put that information out, even their knowledge pieces, even the way the website navigates, and even the way they attract more traffic to the website. If we do not keep up with the times, then I think we are going to be completely staying behind. So coming back to what you asked, yes, there is definitely a great shift today when Indian law firms are redoing their websites, or they are creating the a fresh look and feel to the websites. They do look up to what foreign law firms offer. A lot of times they see how their websites are structured, how they are putting that information out, so that it is palatable, and it also conveys the right message and connects them to people who really may be needing those services.
Right. So now you touched upon the foreign firms and we are getting inspired. The Indian firms are getting inspired by that. What is that information? Uh, is like a bare minimum information one firm should have on their website, and also keeping respecting the bar council regulations as well.
See, most websites would carry the disclaimer that it's purely from a non-solicitation purpose, and that is where it should be like. I feel uh, talking more about the insights, talking more about how the members of the law firm are contributing to the knowledge pieces, not from the perspective to say, yes, I have knowledge, and walk through the door of my office to have a chat with me to figure out how I can help you. But if there is a genuine interest in problem solving, so if I know that this is a rising trend in an industry sector, or if these are the sort of regulatory problems or operational problems or doing business as problems, if I put my pieces on those really are helping the public at large. That sort of information is catering to a wider audience. Then your website is a source of knowledge, not to say that here I am hoisting my flag, come see how good I am and give me work. I know of a lot of law firms who take blogging seriously and who are purely putting that content out there with a non-commercial sort of motive, because they are passionate towards advocacy, they're passionate towards their art. And I think that is where a real differentiator is.
Absolutely. So, if we kind of summarize what you mentioned, is this shift is happening not only because of expectations from the prospective client, but is also because of technological advancement and penetration of these digital platforms, which makes it completely different world altogether. And if you don't have a presence, probably digitally, it might get difficult. Can we say that?
Yes, I would say the initial connect gets facilitated by digital presence. And I will also tell you, Santosh, every firm would put out similar sort of information about, let's say, the whereabouts or who are the people or what practice areas would the firm cater to. But it may just facilitate the initial connect. The longevity of the relationship would really depend on the service. So, will digital presence help me build my business? I would say no. There are many factors that gets added on after the digital presence is made, is what will drive a relationship with the client.
Absolutely. Digital presence and the website cannot be the only factor to get you client and get you business. Absolutely. Moving on to the next topic, visibility. What does visibility mean for a law firm today? And when I ask this question, also keeping in mind everybody wants to be visible.
Visibility as a concept uh, does not have to be a myopic view. When I speak to a lot of lawyers, for them, visibility is just, is a prospective client going to notice me? So when they, let's say, talk about anything with respect to social media or even sort of putting the content out there, uh, one question that I'm constantly asked is, well, am I going to get a client from this? Visibility to me is not just limited to whether you will attract a client tomorrow or not. That process is very organic. It is going to happen. Visibility is when your peers value what you bring to the table. Visibility is when students look up to you and want to be like you. Visibility is when young lawyers draw inspiration from your career trajectory. Visibility is also to perhaps researchers who are researching about the Indian legal market, to your foreign counterparts who may want to know what you bring to the table when they want to engage a lawyer in India. So it's not just whether you're going to get a client or not. Are you a respected voice in the sector itself? And that sector, that ecosystem, is not only consisting of, let's say, a general counsel or a CFO who's going to give you work. The credibility, is built on masses, and masses are the surround sound which comprises of everybody, right from a young law aspirant to someone who's a founder, promoter, investor. So many people, if they know who you are, that is where visibility is. So, how do you become visible? How do you catch the eyeballs of many people? First, the purpose, and second is the drive. If my purpose is clear, who do I need to be targeting in terms of uh, my perception? And second is the drive to keep it up as a process. See, nothing gets built overnight, and that is where a lot of visibility efforts fail, because me trying to write two posts on a social media, or doing one video, or sort of putting one content piece out in a quarter, doesn't really build up a lot of um, value, because we are in an age where the mind space is very limited. Everything people want to consume within 30 seconds and move on. So the volume matters, the quality matters, and frequency matters. If you're really going to ask me where we stay with visibility, visibility is when you consciously decide that you want to put yourself out there. And I know this word is extremely overused, that you become a thought leader. So I personally have started to avoid using it. But the real essence is, are you a voice that people reckon with? And the most interesting aspect, Santosh, is, are you showcasing your authentic personality out there? So if it's a made up attempt, if I shine on social media, but when you speak to me in person, and you'll be like, this person doesn't even sound like what I see of him on social media, or this is so distinct a personality from what I thought this person would be. That's where people call out. So your visibility attempts and your visibility efforts has to be completely in alignment with what you are as a person. So identify what strengths you have in terms of creating the outreach, make it into your visibility strategy, identify what are the optimum channels for you, whether it's a video medium, or it's an audio medium, or it's a writing medium, or it's an in-person meeting medium. And there is how you will drive your visibility plan.
Right. So you were saying uh, the target audience is important. So the reach and the recall, and of course the relevance. You
Yeah.
can't be just keep posting or keep speaking something which is not relevant and which will lead to disaster maybe. Right. So
Classic example in point being the newsletters. And I have seen this, that the lists or to who those newsletter is sent also is not curated. So if I'm sending a real estate focused newsletter to someone who's in, let's say, an FMCG sector, so they'll be like, why am I being sent? Just because you've produced a content and you seem to have my email ID, why am I getting this? So I feel that you made a very, very valid point, Santosh. The target audience needs to be defined. And for every initiative, the target audience and the medium would be different.
now, since you talked about the audience, let's dive a little deeper there and understand how do we define the audience? Are we talking about the decision makers, or are we talking about the influencers to those decision makers, or are we talking about the entire the ecosystem?
A combination of both, Santosh, and I'll answer that how. Let's talk about the decision makers first. Even to the decision makers, when you are talking about of visibility, or when you are putting yourself out there, I ask a lot of law firm partners, are you solving the problem for them? Do we put value on table before we seek something? In If we are approaching something with a transactional mindset, people are very smart, they catch you. But do you have a genuine intent of problem solving? So I I, I coach so many partners to develop case studies, to develop real life templates or learnings or takeaways or debriefings from what they have done, and do a workshop at a company, do a workshop at a place which you intend to help in the future. Say that we want to do a free audit of your portfolio. Say that you may want to help them templatize something. If a prospective client or a company sees that you are putting value on the table, that's your way of building credibility. That's your way of getting the foot in the door through credible exercises. Not saying, I'm so good, give me work. Say, okay, from a similar circumstances or for a similar company, we identified this sort of problems. This is what we do. We wanted to do a case study. We thought we'll share it with you. Or if there's a regulatory development and you feel it may impact certain businesses who you are wanting to help with, do a primer, do a one pager, do a quick sort of decoding of a legislation. Say, here we feel this may impact your business in this way. We just thought of sharing this. So if you put value on table when you're talking and targeting decision makers, that is where the differentiator lies, because everyone else is just saying, hey, I'm so good, give me work. But what you are doing is going 1 mile extra and saying, I've decoded this for you. Let's talk about it. That's a difference in visibility. And if you talk about the general larger ecosystem, there the intent is not to get business or get more work. There the intent is for them to give a face value. And I always quote this example that, over a period of last, let's say about 6 7 years, I have constantly built um, a perception for me as someone who is passionate about law firm management. So if that subject comes in India, especially in Indian context, and people don't take my name, I will feel very left out. I would want to be associated with the field of law firm management. I take a lot of pride in it. So if you call yourself a real estate lawyer or a taxation lawyers and you're not counted amongst that, if even your immediate family, your friends, your alumni connects, if they have a taxation problem or a real estate problem, and they'll be like, oh, you know what? I know Santosh does, top of the taxation matters. Why don't you reach out to him? That's the sort of putting face to the expertise. This is what I'm aiming at. So when you speak about your subject with a lot of passion, when you write about it, and when people start associating you with that subject, that is where your visibility strategy is going right.
Nipun, this is another interesting point you touched upon. One thing is that if my network has some legal requirement or concerns, or definitely, my name would come. But going beyond my network, the discussion what we are having is that how to grow the network, how to create that overreach, and connect with the people beyond my network, and while doing so, what is the right mean and the right way. I've been advised that as a partner I should not be attending all the events, and I should not be giving out my business cards to everybody. It's only to the decision makers. I have not considered that, but this is kind of advice I get. What's your take on that? And I have not come across any lawyer so far who said, "Give me the work, I'm good." But are there any lawyers who are kind of doing this kind of outreach, overselling, and whether that is going against the brand they are associated with?
100%. I have seen instances of, we loosely call this term as brief snatching, where basically means that two partners are so fiercely competitive with each other that they would uh, reach out to same sort of prospective clients, and then clients would be like, didn't somebody from your office already spoke to me? And and clients can see that how desperate you are in terms of approaching them for work. That desperation doesn't have to be permeated through how you are speaking to the client. It has to be a relationship of equals. It also has to be a professional to professional relationship. So that's why I always say, speak about what you have been up to. Speak about how you're enjoying your work. Speak about what problems you have solved for similar people or similar industry sectors or similar companies, because that sort of energy is contagious. That also puts you as an equal in terms of uh, developing that respect. So, as a part of the coaching that we do for our partners, we give them these subtle points that when you're doing the practice development piece, when you're making the outreach, What's the tonality? What's the body language? What is it that you need to do when you are speaking to the prospective clients? And this is something that you also communicate, not just your verbal and physical ways. This is something that you, the way you write the emails, are you putting someone at a sort of equal to relationship? Or if you are doing that run of the mill typical pitch email saying, hi, I want to introduce, I'm this partner of this firm, we do so and so, so they wouldn't want to reach. Can you establish a connect? Do you have an anecdote? Do you have a previous connect? Do you have a connect in common? Have you seen any of their recent achievement or their credential which you want to pick up on? Pick out connects, pick out real conversation. It doesn't have to seem robotic. It has to come from a human and it has to showcase your personality.
These are very valid points for for individual lawyers or the law firm leaders to stand out in a crowded market. And I'm not sure if you are aware because we attend a lot of those international events, and many a times we are subjected to those comments that we get so many meeting requests from Indian law firms and lawyers, and most of those email requests are almost same. And they ask whether it's them who's writing this email, or it's their offices, or it's a third party. And most of the time we don't know how to respond to those. But a lot of times it's very embarrassing that these kind of cold emails, meeting requests are so many in numbers for the larger events, and that they say that we have stopped responding to those emails and meeting requests, and we do not meet to those people who we don't know.
Yeah.
So this is very common issue here we face. How do you address this issue? And if you think that's an issue, at least for me, it's an issue. Many a times we face this embarrassment.
So I think, as I said, the pitch emails and the pitch decks need to sort of be given a little backseat. When you are when you're presenting to a board, I understand you will do a pitch. I understand you will do a presentation. I really want to understand how many law firms have bagged relationships on the basis of a presentation. I'm sorry, it doesn't function like that. A lot of relationships are built outside of the boardroom, outside of the typical office premises. And when I say that, I'm not saying that you wine and dine at fancy places. It is, will you show up when your client needs? Will you, and a simple question, even to people who are servicing and executing, I ask this question a lot of times that if you were to bump into your client and you're stuck in an elevator for about, let's say, 10 minutes, can you hold a conversation minus the work? If you can, if you can have a meal out with them, talking of their larger life problems and not telling them this section, this contract, this, that is where the relationships are driven. So do you talk macro? Do you say that, okay, here we are doing this, tell me what new businesses are you opening, tell me what product lines are you planning to launch, tell me, is there any other area which is you're struggling with? And those sort of relationships are driven by macro perspective. Yes, the on-ground work, execution, contracts, litigation, clause by clause, decoding and presenting things in a quote and a contract are absolutely valid. I'm not discounting that. But if, since your question was more from the pitch perspective, people can see it's a very well crafted email by your business development team, but where is the human? You may have not met those people, perfectly fine. But if it's an interesting message, and of course, backed by who you are. So if you are one individual in your organization and you are wanting to meet a law firm or a prospective client who will not perhaps trust someone with that bandwidth, so it's a mismatch in terms of who you are targeting also. So I feel the answer to what you told me and this sort of embarrassment is, A, firms need to have a thought through strategy when they are especially attending international conferences, and ensure that not more than one partner is reaching out to the same connect, because otherwise it looks that even within the firm there is no planning. And play to every partner's strengths. If you feel that two partners are complementary in each, in terms of their practices, and you may want to uh, both go together and meet a client who may only be contact of one of the persons, that sort of collaboration clients appreciate, because you are then tagging, taking someone along with you who will add value to what a client may want in the future. Those sort of collaborations, if you sort of exercise, that can save you a lot of embarrassment.
Right. Nipun, you earlier mentioned how these foreign law firms are coming to India and they are probably changing the ecosystem, or at least making that new ecosystem available to the Indian lawyers and the law firms. You would have seen traditionally the Indian law firms, they did not have anybody other than the lawyers or support staff. I'm talking about the marketing personnel, I'm talking about HR, I'm talking about the IT heads. But today you see the large firms or the mid-sized firms, they are having separate team, for these respective verticals. Now, considering majority of the firms, they do not have the marketing team, how they should go about it, doing basic if I could use the term again, the marketing, new age marketing, promoting their services or making their services, available to the outside world.
So there are stages in the evolution and growth of every law firm. If you up until you are a decent sized firm, your team and your partners can also run the visibility function, because I feel that for every lawyer to have a well-rounded development, the combination of billables and non-billables, or financial metrics and non-financial metrics, both play an important role, because while financials or sort of execution or billables are important from the perspective of ensuring the financial health of the organization, non-billables give you a well-rounded development as a professional, because then you're thinking of other areas of making sure that you get more work and the revenue streams are more perennial in nature. So up until a certain size, it's always good that partners, that's also the phase then when partners are building the ethos of the law firms. The initial years shape the DNA of the law firm, and it's very top down. So most law firms take from the personality of the founders. So I think in those times, it's good that partners, along with their teams, take charge of the visibility function. It may not have to be that elaborate. It could just be limited to their digital presence, or making sure that the outreach is more personal, and sort of at least the credentials are shared or put out there from the knowledge sharing perspective. But yes, if you grow in size, you will need to onboard professionals, because then the bandwidth will require so. The more the number of partners, you will also need to have balanced representation of the partners. It can't be only one or two partners, seen online or representing the firm in events, or in fact, even the rankings and the awards. If it's limited to one or two people, then those two people become the face of the firm. And a lot of times we were hired by organizations to say, only one or two partners get the prominence. We want the entire cohort to sort of become the face of the firm. How can you break that? Or if one firm starts with predominantly one practice area, then the image becomes like that this firm does only this practice area, even when they grow. So we are sort of brought into the picture to break that image and give them a sort of fuller lens.
Now, if let's say two, three individual lawyers are coming together to set up a small firm, how much do you think a kind of a budget they should allocate, not in terms of numbers, but percentage wise, at least for if they're planning for, let's say, 3 years or 5 years, as a visibility as a marketing budget?
So typically, I've seen the budget ranges from anywhere between, let's say, a 4% of the total turnover to range, the aggressive ones keep even up to 10% of the turnover. Because also, as you grow in the size, the demographics change. You may want to have more people seen as the representation or the face of the firm. You may want to showcase as many diverse practice areas or sectoral experience. So, right from participating in directory listings to events to social media presence to also doing curated experiences for the clients to knowledge areas like Mondac or Lexology or many other platforms that allow publications. So there are budgets allocated for all of these areas, and we have in fact helped a lot of firms define their budgets during the year so that they know what sort of variance is allowed, what sort of variance is not allowed, because the number of events, the number of awards, the number of profiling opportunities have increased manifold. So firms also need to know the ROI and also the best deployment of the budgets that they set aside. So typically, what I have seen is the range which I've just shared with you, depending on how aggressive or how moderate or how conservative you want to be.
Absolutely. Now, one of the few objectives which we have for this podcast is that if somebody who's a lawyer or who's a CA or who is inclined towards a law firm management like Nipun, how they should go about it, and whether there is a market, and considering how some firm like LLC has made it so big and somebody starting small, what would you advise to them? How should they go about it?
So identify the calling. The sooner you do it, the better it is. You do not have to give in to either the societal pressure or the family pressure, because if your heart is not in the traditional practice of law, you'll only be forcing yourself to do something that you do not enjoy, and anything that you do which you do not enjoy does not remain sustainable. So I always encourage young lawyers and students to identify what gives them the joy of creation. So do a lot of internships. Try and do diverse internships because each internship will leave something with you. Um, Try and go as diverse as you can because you may not know what would you enjoy when you sort of uh, grow up, and speak to as many people as you can. That has to be your sponge mode. Absorb as much as you can by talking to seniors, talking to peers, talking to seniors from college where they've placed, and get a glimpse of what the life looks like. So I think this homework is absolutely required to be done at initial stages for them to know. And once you have decided that, okay, I would want to go into the field of law firm management, also take a little while to understand what law firm management truly is. And I'm going to use your medium to talk about this, Santosh. Increasingly, I have seen that law firm management has become synonymous with this whole branding and visibility aspect of things. It is just a fraction of what goes into managing a law firm. Managing a law firm is a very different ballgame. It's an umbrella term that sort of contains of a lot of areas. I mentioned earlier when I was giving my introduction that right from conflict resolution between partners or partners and firm to day-to-day grievance handling to where your funds are getting deployed. Are you recovering your outstanding bills from the clients? What sort of knowledge base are you building? What mentoring opportunities are you giving to your lawyers? Do you want to open an office in another jurisdiction? Do you want to join hands with another law firm? All of these areas, from strategy planning to business planning to law firm mergers, is a part of law firm management. So, if you really want to pursue law firm management, within that also, there are several streams.
Nipun, now coming to the next question, you mentioned, what all they can do and how big the industry is and what are the scope for the those entrepreneurs who wants to get into this law firm management business. Uh, Today, you see a lot of AI tools, and the products are out there in the market, and not every law firm have been able to kind of tap into these expensive products and their category of offerings. but more or less, if I could say, 60-70% lawyers working in a law firm are using directly, indirectly all these AI tools. Do you see there is a huge business opportunity when it comes to legal tech products? People know.
Without doubt. See, legal tech is here to stay. It's also here to revolutionize the way law firms will service their clients. What law firm needs to do is preparedness and also preparing their teams to view AI as an enabler. Now, I'm not even going to get into whether AI is going to take away jobs or not. I am talking of a larger piece here. You wouldn't even know if your lawyer has generated that draft using AI or not. You do tell, but would am I expecting every principal associate or a partner to go and do an AI check to whether something has been drafted through that or not? What firms need to come up with a very strong AI policy, and I have not seen too many firms doing it, where you tell people A, disclaimers, B, disclosures, C, client confidentiality. So all of those principles need to be embodied in an AI policy. Otherwise, you would not even know your team members perhaps would be using AI. And if you do end up submitting a work product generated through AI, even if it's a perfect quality and vetted and thoroughly approved by a partner, do your clients not deserve to know what AI tools have been deployed? Because that's the ethos, that's a part of the operation. So what firms need to do is A, have a strong AI policy, train the people in AI, tell them and encourage them to do disclosures, make AI the friend. It's not about the threat, it's about training them to embrace AI as a part of their lives and not do it sheepishly or not do it discreetly or not do it under the carpet.
And how these firms can leverage AI tools and that platform when it comes to law firm marketing.
um help Take help in decoding the trends, take help in decoding, so what's your success rate of pitches to which sector, which partner closes which sector better, which sort of data points are, when I put that in my articles or when I put them in my newsletters, what sort of readability have I sort of noticed. So if you pull in a lot of intelligent information and feed it into AI and tell them to give you that strategy, AI will be able to help you. It's only a game of how intelligently you want AI to decode those trends or those metrics for you. If you have sent out mailers, if you have done an outreach campaign, AI can help you ascertain the success rate of that based on the sort of data that you generate out of the
You're
campaign.
talking about the analytics. A lot of firms have been doing SEO and making their website more engaging. Now, how much this AI tool, and if you know any of those tools or any of those products, is making a difference today when it comes to creating such a website where the knowledge sharing could be targeted, could be made more advanced, and the analytics, what you talked about, can be made more accurate.
Keywords, I think, what sort of keywords work for you? I know of a lot of people who do this research as humans. Like, they're people who are trained to figure out which keywords function best in which jurisdiction, because keywords differ from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. They are shape shifting. The trends change almost on an everyday basis. What sort of changes your website backend or the coding requires to simulate in terms of those changes so that the SEO sort of catches up. All of that part can be taken care of by AI tools, but specific AI tools. Just like law firm management is misunderstood only as visibility, AI also is huge. Which part of your operations you want to put AI in? Is it the client servicing? Is it the practice development side? Is it the content planning and the social media presence side? AI tools could be different and bespoke for each of these areas, depending on how sophisticated you want those tools to be for your operations. It has to be a combination of human intellect and artificial intelligence. That's what works best. Key.
Right. Even you've seen in last 5 years these content creators, these influencers. Now, when it comes to the legal industry, uh, what kind of digital content really works, and whether it's blogs, podcasts, short videos. So we have not come across any influencer so far, but we did see some forms coming up with ads, which probably was pulled up by BCI. But what kind of this young age law firm marketing is being used in today's world, and what is working?
So I'll tell you, Santosh, anything that's, and I think I made that point earlier as well, anything that's in your face, um, cringy, and laudatory will be called out not only by a regulator like BCI, but by the consumers themselves, because people understand when you want to genuinely create awareness and when you want to talk about yourself. So, yes, there has been a rise of influencers. Some of them do it subtly, who share the success stories or who share best practices of, let's say, running a law firm. On the other hand, you will see um, poorly produced, very vlog-ish short videos when you see that the person really is not interested in how I consume that information. They are just there to showcase that, oh, here, see me wearing my gown with the background of Supreme Court. So anything that's crisp, bite-sized, whether it's a series of images or carousel posts or short videos, those are very welcomed. But the production quality will make a difference. The authenticity of content will make a difference, and how consistently do it will make a difference. Anything that you start but you cannot continue with will in fact do more harm than good.
Nipun, what are those global best practices Indian firms can adopt while staying compliant with the Bar Council regulations?
See, anything that is not breaching the contours of knowledge sharing will not be impacting you in the negative. When you are and this, by no means I'm saying do not give credit to people who are creating that. Please, in fact, even if an intern has helped you with the research, or if someone of your junior most team member has sort of helped you with it, please give them due credits. But are you doing this exercise to make sure that people see the cutting edge work that the firm does and the expertise that the firm has without screaming it? So newsletters, articles, even long form articles, the thought through articles, the ones that sort of pick a piece which is very topical or which is very in the moment. Um, those sort of content pieces are very welcome. In fact, to answer to one of your earlier questions, Santosh, when you said that how do you define the outreach, or how do you make sure that the outreach, or how do you grow your network? So today I'm saying physical meeting, 1 hour of physical meeting will entail at least 1 hour of travel on either side. So within those 3 hours, I may perhaps be meeting one person and establishing a connect. So when that connect is already established, to grow and deepen that bond, that 3 hour investment is worth it. But if I were to spend those 3 hours in creating content, creating knowledge pieces, and disseminating it through digital means, for that 3 hour utilization, even if I count the time taken in formatting, even if I'm time taken in production or editing, that will go out to perhaps 5,000 or 10,000 or more people. But from the perspective of creating awareness, when those 5,000, 10,000 take note of your 3 hour efforts over a year or over very many years, that is when you will start converting more of physical one-to-one meetings.
Interesting point, and let me ask you this specific question on this. Somebody had told that instead of spending, let's say, $5,000 going to US to attend one conference, why don't you use this $5,000 in sponsoring something? What is the pros and cons of attending versus sponsoring? Interesting.
The outcomes are different, Santosh. Uh, for me to represent my organization in an international trip or an international conference is for me to A, get the taste of their culture, B, present them with my culture and who I am as a person, and C, have the uh, sensory experience of a one-on-one meeting or a physical meeting. But if you were to deploy that same amount of funds to sponsor something or to support something, some conferences within your country, yes, perhaps you will be visible to a lot of people. But if I put pure maths to it, how many domestic clients will you convert out of that one conference, vis-a-vis if you were to convert even one from your international presence and get the benefit of the dollar billing, it kind of makes up more than that. So this is pure maths. But coming back to what I was saying initially, I think the purpose of the two is entirely different. An international conference gives you exposure, gives you a chance to establish a deeper connect with the client than what you do just behind the laptop.
Absolutely agree with you. If we had to compare Indian legal ecosystem, US, and let's take UK in terms of law firm marketing, which one do you see more evolved and more respected, and which one do you think Indian law firms should aspire to adopt?
See, Santosh, difficult to pick out of the two, but I will tell you, if you go to an international firm's website, whether it's UK or US, the landing page itself is screaming solutions. And I'm not saying screaming solutions in a negative way. I'm saying it in a very positive way because the moment you land, first you will see some of their very recent knowledge pieces about some industry trend that they are decoding, some legislation they're talking about, some doing business in UK sort of thought pieces. When I go onto their website, I see that they are talking of solutions, case studies, their recent work on a no-name basis. And that is such a welcome experience for me also, because I am not landing into straight to say we were founded by so and so person in so and so year and this thing. Of course, if I want to know more about it. So I think the key difference I see, Indian websites are more uh, inward looking in their nature.
So you were saying that it doesn't matter who you are. What matters is that what you can do for me. So,
What matters first is what you can do for me, because if I am interested in what you can do for me, I would definitely want to know who you are. So I think it's in terms of prioritization, just the optics of it, what matters. Both
absolutely.
information pieces are important, but what you are giving me first is what makes a lot of difference.
Interesting. Coming to the last segment, what does this new age of law firm marketing look like, let's say 2030, 2035, 5, 10 years down the line?
I'm hoping that the camouflaging will be less. The hushes and the shushes of, oh, don't call it business development, or don't call it marketing, will go. But at the same time, even a platform like LinkedIn, which was so widely respected as a professional platform, has sort of become very fish marketish. And there's a lot of caricature, there's a lot of cringe content that is being produced. I hope by 2030, 2035, we evolve in what we are putting out there, to make it more about the readers or the consumers and less about ourselves. And even when you're talking about ourselves, is there a learning or a giveaway we can leave? Yes, with certain more relaxations, the regulators allow us to talk about the firms if we are to compete with the foreign firms, but at the same time, preserve the sanctity of what we are putting out there and be more real in what we portray, more authentic in what we portray.
More authentic. Looking at various these digital platforms, LinkedIn, you mentioned, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and many more are coming up. Which one do you think is more authentic today, which we should look up to if any content is produced or posted there? And probably 5 years down the line, which you think is going to lead this industry?
So, again, little dependent on the kind of content and the kind of outreach we're looking at. Let's say if my area of practice is media or entertainment or sports, gaming, IPR, even taxation for that matter, these are the areas whose consumers are the younger lot. The demographic of consumer is the millennials, the Gen Zs. They are all out there present on, let's say, an Instagram. So if I need to target them, I need to customize myself to that medium and produce content for them, because the more they see it, the more they would want to engage with it. X is hugely popular for microblogging, but also subject to immense trolling. That's why you will see a lot of lawyers and law firms steer away from X, because taking trolling uh, chin down is not something that lawyers are very comfortable with, and I wouldn't recommend also. So if you carry a voice of your own, and if you are a person of few words, X is the medium for you. YouTube will be the nest for video content. There's no denying that fact, because no matter, even if you're doing reels, YouTube has come up with shorts. But anything that's more um, wide, long in terms of duration, YouTube will continue to nest, promote, and be the sole sort of position holder for times to come. And nothing beats LinkedIn when it comes to the written form of content. And nothing, I see so many LinkedIn posts, and you see the industry warming up to uh, congratulatory messages whenever there is an achievement. So I think LinkedIn has brought the community closer. LinkedIn has also played a great role in giving people a platform to talk about themselves. So, as a professional network, again, LinkedIn is here to stay.
Right. Uh, three takeaways or key takeaways for me from this conversation is visibility without credibility fades quickly, and trust is the only true differentiator. As you mentioned, a strong digital presence is must because the client journey and considering 2025 starts, being online. And as you mentioned, being authentic, original, but working within the regulatory, limits calls for creativity and not compromise. Any closing remarks for you?
So, so closing remarks are law firm visibility, especially since this is the core topic of discussion today. Handle it with kid gloves, because social media doesn't forget and social media doesn't forgive. So, whatever you are putting out there, make sure it is a reflection of the ethos of the firm and the personality of the people who make the firm. If you are laying off 50 people from your firm, and on your LinkedIn or on your website, you say that we are a people centric, people focused firm and we boast about the culture, you're going to be called out in no time. So, whatever your true ethos are, true beliefs of the founders, partners, team members are, please depict that. And I wrote it a while back on LinkedIn that the next talent war between law firms will not be on money, but will be on culture. So please use your social media. Please use your communication channels to talk about the culture.
Anipun, this has been a really interesting and insightful conversation, and thanks for all the good words and the kind words you use for us. And we hope this conversation will give away some information, some insights to our listeners. Thank you so much, Nipun.
Thank you, Santosh. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.